Hello Gems, Leah from Red Emerald Yoga. Welcome back to my channel for today's reading. This is going to be an April Fool's Day reading for Mercury Retrograde in Aries, which starts today and it ends on April 25th. So I'm just going to light an incense. You can't smell this, but this is a frankincense and myrrh incense. It smells amazing. So the reason why we call this Mercury retrograde is because the planet Mercury looks as if it's going backwards in reverse. It's just an optical illusion though. So some of the things that come into play during the time of Mercury retrograde are things like commerce, electronics, transportation, travel, communication, including social media, text messages, and email. So you might have issues arising in any of those areas. Being that this is Mercury retrograde in Aries, think about all of the things that apply to Aries. So while operating in the higher capacity of Aries, you could think of that as energy that is very bold and courageous. It's fearless and passionate, and it fights for a good cause. Stands up not only for itself, but also for others. It will stand up to tyranny, and it's definitely going to call out any bullshit that it sees. Now, when Aries is operating in its lower capacity or during a time of Mercury retrograde, you might notice that this energy can come across extra harsh. It might come across so fast and so quick that maybe you forget to proofread that text or that email before you press send. You might say things in a way without really thinking how they will be received. They might come off a little bit too harsh, or you might say something and then not have time to take that back, and then you're feeling vulnerable. This is a time when normally things might arise and you might experience these as a minor hiccup in your day-to-day. During the time of Mercury retrograde, if you're not grounded, if you're not spending enough time in nature, if you're not releasing and forgiving, if you're not doing some sort of internal practice like yoga, meditation, prayer, those minor hiccups might erupt into a major meltdown, especially around miscommunications. So that's what this reading is going to be about. So go ahead and choose a pile that most resonates with you, either by the deck or by the stone. This first one, I believe this is like a blue agate. And this is going to be the Lumina tarot. Pile number 2, this is a mystery stone. It's got these black chunks in it with gray. This is going to be the New Chapter Tarot. Pile number 3, this is Soul Cat's Tarot. And I forget what this is. I think it's Sodalite. For pile number 4, we have Anna K Tarot. This would be the artist edition. And a mystery stone. For pile number 5, we have the Sacred Rose Tarot, or what I believe is Jasper. So go ahead and choose your pile, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, and then jump down to your timestamp below, and I will see you in your reading. Pile 1, you can just stay put, and we'll get right into that. Hello, pile 1. If you have selected Lumina Tarot, or this blue, what I believe is agate, this reading is for you. Okay, card 1, what will Mercury retrograde bring into my awareness? Here we have the Page of Pentacles in the reverse. I feel like some old childhood wounds, triggers, perhaps some memories from your childhood may be coming up to the surface. I feel like these would be old attachments, old ways that you have found to cope or self-soothe. things that might not be the healthiest for you. How might Mercury retrograde affect me? Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. I feel like this is a call to self-care, to really coming to terms with those old things. Here, I'm really drawn to the teddy bear. How you dealt with it as a child and how you choose to deal with it as an adult. I feel like it's finally bringing that full circle. I feel like this will be a time for maturing. What do I need to revisit during Mercury retrograde? The World in the reverse. I feel like there may be some loose ends, some things that are holding you back. It's time to tie those up. Or if you have decided to take a new path, then cut that cord, release your energetic attachment to it, and move on. But whatever it is, you can't leave it in limbo anymore. You have to address it. Card 4. What do I need to rework during Mercury retrograde? This would be something that is not working well for you. Here we have the 5 of Cups in the reverse. There's something that you're desperately trying to hold on to, but these cups have spilled. There's no more contents in there. It's time to let it go. Holding on to this thing, this person, this past way of living, this memory, it's not doing you any favors. I feel like it's time to forgive. It's time to move on. It's time to stop replaying these past events in your head over and over again. Perhaps even forgiving yourself may be called for. This is an unknown factor I need to be aware of. Seven of Batons. There may be something that arises during this Mercury retrograde that keeps coming up over and over and over again. And when you see this thing, this pattern arising over and over, it's time to take a step back and pause. Maybe do some little breathing exercise, some pranayama, perhaps do some humming bee breath. Just take a time out and really evaluate, what is it in me? Why does this thing keep arising for me? How can I handle things differently? Card 6, this is a precaution I can take for a smooth Mercury retrograde. Here we have the 5 of Pentacles in the reverse. I feel like this would be a call to pay attention to your spiritual practice. Whether that be prayer, meditation, yoga, tai chi, whatever. I also feel like it's a nod to really paying attention to your temple, your body. What foods are you putting into it? Are they healthy foods? This really reminds me of that stuff that keeps the I don't even want to say it. I don't know if I'm going to get flagged. But the stuff that's like a coating on the food, you can't wash it off. And it makes the fruit look like it's fresh and good to eat, but it's already decaying. You know, there's the nutritional value is just not there. That's what that reminds me of. It's like a call. Are you eating the best food that you can provide for yourself right now? Are you drinking enough water? Are you getting enough sleep? Not only is it a call to pay attention to your spirituality, but also to your temple. This card says the end of a tough cycle approaches. full moon in Capricorn. I'm going to go to the book and see what this has to say. It says, how hard are you willing to work for what you want? This card is reminding you that effort is required. Work issues may be about to come to a head when this card comes up. If you are wondering if you should stay in your job or leave, this card can be a strong sign to make an exit. The end of a rough time is forecast. This card also asks you to consider how ambitious you are and whether you're prepared to pull out all the stops to make your professional dreams come true without being ruthless. With a love question, this card can be a call to face reality. Whatever situation you're asking about, making a plan will help. If your personal life is troubled, prioritize it more. Attune to the moon. Release control and trust the universe. Additional meanings for this card may include a professional project may be ending now. Admit if you've been overly hard-headed or hard-nosed. Find a balance between your personal and private life. It's time to stop fearing the worst. The teaching of this card says the full moon in Capricorn has a very strong work ethic and energy, and will more than likely come up when you're asking a professional question. If your question is about another matter, it will serve as a much-needed reminder to move through any feelings of hopelessness you may have been feeling about your situation. And this applies no matter when you draw the card. Making a plan is a far better use of your time. And we're going to see what this one has to say, and then I'll tell you how I believe they are tying into your reading. It says, you are the creative force that shapes your reality. Be Tilda. So the end of a tough cycle approaches. Full moon in Capricorn. And you are the creative force that shapes your reality. So if you are considering leaving a job for another, I would recommend that you really sit and think about it. Perhaps not make such a huge decision during the time of Mercury retrograde. But if you're forced into it, then, that's just the way that circumstances have worked out. Sometimes you have to make big decisions during Mercury retrograde. But if it can be avoided, I usually suggest that you wait until after retrograde is over. I feel like if you're in a rough patch and you don't have to actually leave your job, that it's saying just breathe. Do your yoga, your prayer, your meditation. Do some form of self-soothing technique and just know that this time will pass. It won't be so stressful and you won't be so agitated for very much longer. Release control and trust the universe. Yes, I definitely feel like that ties in with your reading, especially with this eclipse coming up. I feel like now is a really good time to work on releasing anything that you don't need to hold on to right now before that eclipse comes into play on April 8th. If you do find yourself experiencing feelings of hopelessness, have hope and keep the faith. This won't last forever. The end of a tough cycle approaches. I feel like that does, it may tie in with this card over here too, with the Five of Cups in the reverse. But you've got to find a way to release this. Perhaps do some journaling, writing everything down, burning it and releasing it. So pile one, I feel like most of your reading is about just really paying attention to the thoughts, the self-talk that you tell yourself, the foods that you're putting into your body. It's like getting a muddy cup and just continually letting fresh water fill your cup. Eventually you're going to replace and all of that mud, it's going to eventually clean itself. It's going to clean itself out. And I feel like that's what this card is all about. You might find the strength and support, maybe in a collective group. Perhaps that's through some sort of a class like yoga, some sort of martial arts class. Maybe that's going, to a church, your place of worship, whatever religion you subscribe to, whatever belief system you believe in. but you literally are the creative force that shapes your reality. Whatever you believe to be true will be true. So focus your energies on what you want to attract. If you're focusing on the loss, if you're focusing on, oh, this task, this thing that's lingering, without taking steps to complete it, or cutting that energetic cord and releasing that dead weight from you, it's always going to be there. How are you going to choose to respond? The same old way that you did when you were younger? Or are you going to mature? For example, like if you ran and hid underneath the bed every time your parents fought, or you ran and hid in a closet because you were safe, and then now as an adult, when people have arguments, disagreements, do you still run and hide? Do you want to run for under the bed or in the closet? Those things that worked for you as a child, they just don't work for you anymore. Are you running? Are you a runner? I'm not saying that you are. You might have your own different ways, but that's just the thing that comes to mind. I feel like you need to choose a healthier way to deal with your situations when they arise. So pile 1, this does conclude your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you soon. Bye for now, gems. Hello, pile 2. If you have selected the New Chapter Tarot or this black and gray stone, this reading is for you. Okay, let's begin. Card number 1, what will Mercury retrograde bring into my awareness? Invocation. It's kind of like the High Priestess card, but it's a little bit different. I'm going to go to the book and see what it has to say because I don't have that memorized. It's kind of like an oracle card. Invocation. Take a moment to clarify your intentions. This is a call to connect with your guides. Reach out to the guardian of the first threshold. They will test your resolve and worthiness to cross over. Intimidating at first, the guardian nonetheless holds your best interest and inner growth at heart. Magic is all around us, and we only need to tap into it. So open yourself to receive guidance and wisdom. So I feel like what Mercury retrograde may bring into your awareness is some untapped magic, perhaps a sixth sense or seventh, some sense that you have not really fully grasped or understood. I feel like it will be a deepening of your knowledge. And then I'm really drawn to these plants right here. I have no idea what they are, but these plants that are growing, I don't know about the white flowers, but these ones here, these remind me of rosemary. And I feel like it may be connected to your ancestors, remembering some of their old ways. I think that's a beautiful card to come up in this position. How might Mercury retrograde affect me? Here we have the King of Swords. I feel like this Mercury retrograde might affect you with your decision makings, perhaps contracts, but also I'm really drawn to how this looks like it's the cosmos up here and how it's being downloaded. I feel like it's up to you, really, and how you choose to use this energy. I'm really drawn to how the eclipse takes place during this Mercury retrograde, and all of these energies are magnified during the eclipse. I strongly suggest that you do some sort of prayer, meditation, some sort of ritual during the eclipse, whatever is in your practice. I feel like there may be something that you are going to be downloading. What do I need to revisit during Mercury retrograde? The Empress. I could see this as reconnecting, revisiting energies surrounding your mother, whether she's still on this earthly plane or not. That could be remembering things that she has taught you. That might involve forgiving. atoning for, asking your own forgiveness, but I feel like it's making peace. Perhaps even a grandmother. But I do feel like this is a reconnection with feminine energy. Perhaps it's the Sophia energy. Card 4, what do I need to rework during Mercury retrograde? What is not working well for me? The Hermit. I don't know if you've been doing some hermiting lately, but I feel like it will be time to come out of your shell. Perhaps you've been hunkering down, doing a lot of studying, spending a lot of time going within. Maybe that's why you're ready to kind of have this spiritual leveling up. Maybe your hermiting has paid off. But that time is going to be coming to an end. What unknown factors do I need to be aware of? The Princess of Discs in the reverse. I feel like there may be a time where you begin to feel a little bit frustrated, like things are not moving as quickly as they should be. I feel like that would just be saying, you know what, slow down, take a deep breath. You are still making progress towards the goal. I see that like that big orange disc, like the solar plexus chakra, like the sun. It's towards expansion and growth. And that progress is not always linear. Sometimes you take a few steps forward and then sometimes you have to take a few steps back. It's like a cosmic dance, and that's okay. You won't always feel confident. You won't always have the right directions. You will make mistakes. But as long as you keep making progress towards your goal, you're on the right path. What precautions can I take for a smooth Mercury retrograde? Here we have the 5 of Discs in the reverse. I feel like you have some shadow work to be doing. I feel like before you come out of your hermit phase, you've got to go deep. I feel like bearing, literally bearing, yeah. Bearing what you want to leave behind. And when you come out, when you emerge from this hermiting phase, you're going to be a new person. It's kind of like a rebirth. Perhaps doing some journaling, you can write it all down. Normally I would say to burn it, but in this instance, I think it's a really good idea to write it down and perhaps like write down like the person that you would like to emerge as. Who do you want to emerge as? Re-emerge as? Writing all of that down. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What do you want to embody? And then planting that in a plant, watering it, nurturing it, and watching it grow. By giving it all of this energy, all of this intention, I feel like you're going to magnify. You're going to magnify this manifestation. This card says Mira, explore outside your element to discover new magic. Oh my goodness. And I literally felt like that's what these cards were talking about. The answers you need are coming. Full moon in Gemini. This card is a reminder that it's important to speak your truth. But remember that your words have consequences and impact your listener. Right now, you need to guard against indiscretion. The answers you need may well come soon. The issue you're facing could well be one or a few conversations away from being resolved. If you're inquiring about a love situation, a little flirting may be called for. If you're in the middle of an argument, this card comes to you as a reminder of the old, very non-Gemini message. Least said, soonest mended. I think that's a really good idea, especially around the time of Mercury retrograde. It's good to talk, but be careful you aren't causing yourself any issues with your words. Words have enormous power. As metaphysician Florence Scovel Shinn put it, your word is your wand. You create magic and your own reality every time you express yourself. And that's something that I really felt strongly with this card here. And I felt like writing down who you wanted to reemerge as and planting that in a plant in a pot. It says to attune to the moon, have an important conversation, but stay calm. Additional meanings for this card include don't be superficial. Someone may be trying to flirt with you, have you noticed? I don't really feel like that's applying to your situation. It says you need to laugh off the situation and just move on. Job applications have good prospects. I feel like yours is more centered around conversations, the conversations you have with others and the conversation you have with yourself. It says the teaching of this card is talk, talk, and more talk as the emotional full moon moves into the communicative sign of Gemini. It's too easy to say too much, so mind how you go if you pull this card. This card can also indicate an enjoyable social event. Since the full moon in Gemini is a great time for socializing, this card also augurs well for any study you're either taking or considering. One thing I want to point out is with Gemini and you, I felt like this was like downloading information from the cosmos. I don't know if you are a channeler, but if you are, you might notice that you start to speak really quickly. That's something that sometimes happens to me in my tarot readings. When I first started out, it used to mortify me, like, oh my gosh, why am I talking so fast? Or I can't believe I just said that to my client. I would go and try to edit it out, like, oh my gosh, I should not have said that. I would never say that, but yet I did. And later the client would come back to me and say like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that. And I would just like, my heart would sink, you know, into my belly. And they would say, so-and-so used to always tell me that, or that was like verbatim, you know. And then I realized, oh, that's actually, those are downloads that I'm getting. And that's why I'm speaking so, so quickly that I can't even take it out. But that might be something that you experience. You might experience downloads. You might experience things coming out of your mouth before you even have the chance to stop it. But I want to bring your awareness back to this, where it says least said, soonest mended. So if you're not in a position where you're channeling, just take a moment to pause, compose yourself. You might want to do things. I'm really drawn to how it's Gemini. Gemini is really good, like with communication. And blue is the color of the throat chakra. You do have a lot of blue in your reading. So I think things that would balance the throat chakra, especially around the time of Mercury retrograde, wearing blue, doing things like neck stretches, drinking warm drinks, making sure you're drinking enough water. You might want to be eating soups and broths, perhaps doing some neck rolls, breathing exercises such as bee's breath or alternate nostril breathing. You might be drawn to diffuse eucalyptus in your diffuser, essential oils. Another thing I want to point out is that sometimes during Mercury retrograde, we get a lot of wind. There's like a weather shift that might happen. So if you experience something like that, maybe even going outside and just letting the wind carry away, just like, I don't know if you have long hair, but I have long hair. And when that happens, I like to unbraid my hair, just let my hair be wild and go outside, go for a walk. And just imagine that the wind is just cleansing my aura and just taking away whatever needs to go. So that might be something to do too. You don't have to have long hair to do that. It's just something I like to visualize with my hair. But just letting that carry away any stress and bullshit that you may be feeling like it's lingering. So pile 2, this does conclude your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you soon. Bye for now, gems. Hello, pile 3. If you have selected Soul Cats Tarot, or the sodalite, then this reading is for you. Card number 1. What will Mercury retrograde bring into my awareness? 4 of Pentacles in the reverse. I feel like for you, it might bring feelings of insecurity. Maybe not knowing where you stand financially. It could even be with friends, with coworkers, just different situations. I'm really drawn to his face. He's kind of like, oh, oh my goodness. I feel like grounding might be really good for you, working on your root chakra, doing a lot of standing poses if you're doing yoga, really focusing on your connection to the earth. If you are a tree hugger, definitely go out and hug yourself a tree, dig your toes in the sand or the grass. If you're in snow, maybe do a quick run out in the snow, or maybe find some way where you can connect to nature. Maybe you're going on a hike in the outdoors all bundled up, or perhaps even if you have like wood flooring in your house, maybe just, you know, doing yoga on the on the floor. Like, we're just really connecting to the natural elements. One thing I want to point out, if you have concrete where you live, not doing earthing or grounding on concrete, because concrete tends to deplete your life force energy. Okay. I also want to bring up, I was going to move on, but I'm feeling like, I feel like this might be really important for you, pile 3, not to make any major purchases unless you feel like you absolutely have to. Like if your car breaks down and you need a new car, well, okay, well, you're stuck. You know, you can't wait for Mercury retrograde to be over. Or if your dryer breaks, like mine broke not too long ago, you know, I was saving up for something that I really wanted to get, and I had to put that on a back burner, and I had to go and purchase a new dryer. So it just depends, you know, like not making major purchases unless you have to. Card number 2, how might Mercury retrograde affect me? Here we have the 2 of Swords, and I see this as decisions. You might be faced with some tough decisions, and I feel like these would be decisions that you don't want to rush into. Don't rush into them. Sit with them for a moment. If you can, again, if you can wait until after Mercury retrograde is over, which ends on April 25th, that would be ideal for major decisions. But if it can't wait, then just really sitting with them and seeing, like, what does my intuition have to say about this? What does my spirit have to tell me about this decision? I would take extra caution dealing with contracts at this time. That could even be like things like signing a lease. If you are dealing with any contracts, if you are going over any sort of legal agreement, really making sure that you understand what you're signing before you sign it. Card 3, what do I need to revisit during Mercury retrograde? Page of Pentacles. I feel like this could be your ideas about money, your ideas about spending. What do I need to revisit during Mercury retrograde? I'm really drawn to how pages have a very youthful and childlike energy. Is it something that you want just because it's the greatest, neatest, bright and shiny thing? All your friends are doing it. Everybody on social media has one, and so I want one too. Or is it something that you actually need? Like, you know, when you're in a grocery store and they move all of the junk food down to kids' eye level, you know, because they know that they're just going to bug the shit out of their parents. Like, mom, dad, I need that. You know, is that what's happening to you, or is it something that you actually need? I feel like this is when you're coming across things, really being mature, really evaluating your foundation, your financial footing. Do I need this? Do I need this right now? Is this the best time for this? Or do I need to get my bills, my finances in order before I embark on this journey? I'm really drawn to the wings and how he looks like he has an aviator's helmet on. Don't be like Icarus and fly too close to the sun. Card 4, what do I need to rework during Mercury retrograde? What is not working well for me? Page of Wands. Again, it's another page. I feel like this could be boredom. Really being mesmerized by the greatest, I feel like that like great and bright, shiny object, but then getting bored with it very quickly. I feel like it's making decisions, going after things that were not actually needs. They were just kind of wants, and I feel like you might have been influenced by people around you. They might not have even been your needs. You might have just thought you needed it or thought you wanted it because, other people made it look so fun. I feel like this could also even be having, experiencing boredom at home and then asking yourself, like, why am I so bored? Why am I getting bored easily? Is it the task that's boring? Is it my surroundings that's boring? Or is it actually, could it be me? Am I boring? Is there something that I could be doing? Spending my time wiser? Could I be doing something that I truly enjoy? And then maybe I wouldn't be getting bored so often. Card 5. What unknown factors do I need to be aware of? Eight of Swords in the reverse. I feel like this card is telling you that you have all the tools that you need to make yourself not feel like a victim, to make yourself not feel trapped. Not only do you have the tools yourself, you are surrounded by people who are empowering you, who are giving you a helping hand, but you're refusing that. Now, this is an unknown factor. You might not realize that there are people around you who can help you. You might not realize that that friend reaching out to you is there for your benefit. They really, truly want to help you. They see something in you that they would like to help liberate you in some way. Because they see that you have the tools, but you're just refusing to use them. I feel like this is something that may come up during Mercury retrograde. You will have the opportunity to empower yourself. What precautions can I take for a smooth Mercury retrograde? Four of Wands in the reverse. I feel like this is saying get your house in order. Now, this can very well be referencing making things right at home. I don't know if you live with your parents. I don't know if this could pertain to a partner, your children. This could even be talking about just cleaning house, getting ready for the eclipse energy on April 8th. That's a wonderful day to manifest on. But in order to manifest something, you've got to create a space. You don't want the energy to be blocked by clutter and excess baggage, attachments to things that you're never going to use. Attachment to junk, like it's literally trash. Throw it out. Get your home in order. This is a collective reading. It's going to mean different things to different people. But get your home in order. Fiona Fluffington says, if you stumble, make it a part of the dance. Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna find it. But I saw this video of this guy on Instagram, and he was doing this thing on a pull-up bar, and it looks to me like he fell to the ground, and he starts doing all these crazy push-ups, and he's jumping up in the air from a laying down position, and it's just it's insane. It's literally crazy the way that he's moving around. But I couldn't help but laugh, and I was thinking, wow, it looks like he fell and made the best of it. Knowing cameras were rolling, and there were some people in the comments also suggesting that, you know, it looked like he had fallen and just made the best of it. So yeah, if you stumble, make it part of the dance. Who cares what you look like? Just laugh and go with it. I saw another video. I'm telling on myself for wasting time on social media last night, but this guy was doing this skateboarding trick, and there were these two little tiny, they were short, but these two little bars, I don't know what they're called, I'm not a skateboarder, but these two little bars, and he was trying to, I guess, grind on the two, whatever they're called, pole things, and then he fell on the third one, or he fell like after he got off the second one. And then he fell on his butt and he landed on a skateboard. And so like his face, he was really excited because he landed on a skateboard. He just went with it, and he's rolling like in boat pose off the screen. And it was hilarious. And it would, if he wouldn't have fallen, it wouldn't have looked actually so funny and so cool. But him falling, him stumbling actually made his performance even more enjoyable to watch. That's what I'm getting at. So this card says a personal issue reaches resolution, full moon in Cancer. One thing I want to point out is nobody feels like a Cancer. Nobody loves like a Cancer. So there's something that you care very deeply about. And this is coming to a head. So let me go to the book and see what this has to say for full moon in Cancer. Things are likely to get very heated, as full moon in Cancer is a super emotional sign. So there could be something of an explosion of feelings around now or surrounding your question. It's important to be sensitive to other people when you pull this card. There are some very fine sensibilities around, so tread carefully as you move towards your goals or dreams. This card indicates an especially feminine time. It also heralds time to deal with any family issues coming up. I definitely felt that in this card here. Nothing to worry about. It signals a challenge is now coming to an end. This card also suggests that both a domestic matter or private issue will soon come to a head, and that it's great time to move house. I don't feel like that part of the card is really pertaining to your situation, unless, like I said, it had to. Like if you had to, your lease was up and you have nowhere to go, like then yeah, obviously you need to sign a new lease. The answer to your question lies in being a kind leader. This is the time for you to step up and agree to overcome your insecurities. I definitely see that here. Dealing with insecurities around your foundation, perhaps your finances. It may be best to move towards what you want in a sideways manner. Yeah, growth is not always linear. You know, sometimes it's up, it's down, sometimes you make a loop and then you go back, you know. Additional meanings for this card: meditate to soothe heightened emotions. Don't be clingy, especially during Mercury retrograde. Stop sulking. And have you had enough family time lately? I strongly feel like this is so important in your reading. My dogs are saying hello, by the way. The heightened emotions of the Moon-Cancer combination can't be ignored. However, Cancer is one of the Moon's 2 home signs, along with Taurus. So astrologically speaking, the Moon loves to be in this sign. In fact, she rules Cancer. This means that with this card, there's a sense that all is as it should be. Or, don't worry, all will soon be well. I think that's the one that's coming into play in your reading. All will soon be well. One thing I want to point out where it's talking about don't be clingy, and heightened emotions. I don't know if this pertains to your situation or not. Maybe it pertains to some of you because this is a collective reading, but I just want to point out that sometimes our exes or people who we have stopped talking to, that could even be family, they tend to resurface at this time. So it's a good idea to block anybody that needs to be blocked, burn any bridges that need to be burned. I mean, this is the time of Aries. This is Mercury retrograde in Aries, and I don't think that there is any better time for burning a bridge than Mercury retrograde in Aries. So yeah, sometimes bridges have to be burned because if not, you may try to mend a bridge that is better left burned. And again, that does not apply to everybody, but I felt like for some of you that may be applicable. For you, pile 3, if you consume honey, I think this might be a great time to have warm teas with lemon and honey to soothe the throat. I feel like it would be a good time to diffuse lemon in your diffuser. It's very uplifting, it's very cheerful. You could even infuse some orange and lemon together. If you find that you've stumbled, dust yourself off, put a smile back on your face, and get back up again. Don't let it keep you down. It is time to empower yourself. I don't know if you've been playing the victim card lately. Having a pity party, oh, woe is me. I can't do this. This is too big. I'm too small. This is too hard. But this card is saying, you can do this. You are so much stronger than you believe you are. One thing I want to point out, this going right through the center of your reading are these 2 cards with blindfolds. I feel like there's something that you just don't want to look at. And it might be because it's a little bit scary. But this card is saying that you can do it, and you might muster up the strength to stare it down with this energy. This Aries energy, especially around the time of the eclipse. So, pile 3, this does conclude your reading. I hope it makes sense. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you soon. Bye for now, gems. Hello, pile 4. If you have selected Anna K. Tarot, Artist Edition, or this Mystery Stone, this reading is for you. Okay, let's begin. Card number 1. What will Mercury retrograde bring into my awareness? Here we have Strength in the reverse. I feel like this Mercury retrograde is going to awaken you an inner strength. When people come at you, people get agitated, when there's like a miscommunication, you're going to be able to calm it down with love, with an understanding, with grace. I think this is a beautiful card to come up in this position. How might Mercury retrograde affect me? Here we have the Magician in the reverse. I feel like there may be times when you feel incapable, like things are spiraling out of control. But this card is asking you to remember that you do hold all of the tools required to manifest your desires, to manifest the life you truly want to live. What do I need to revisit during Mercury retrograde? The Tower. Maybe this is why you feel incapable, like things are spiraling out of control. I feel like there's something that happened. Now, this would have been in the past. It could have been the recent past. It does not have to be. I feel like your Tower situation was one of some sort of emotional catastrophe. This could have been a relationship a friend, a family member, a lover that you had a falling out with. This might be the time to right old wrongs. I don't know if you had a hand in this. If you did, it might be a good time to ask for forgiveness. This might be a good time to offer forgiveness to somebody who has wronged you. Doesn't mean, and if this person is not meant to be in your life, like if they're not good for you, then you don't actually have to do that in person. They don't have to be there in person or on the phone for you to forgive them. But I feel like you don't want this energy lingering. You don't want to carry this into the eclipse, okay? So the eclipse is going to be on April 8th, also during Mercury retrograde. So you want to let that go away. You want to release that before the eclipse. That way you're able to create the life that you want. You're able to manifest by creating this energetic vortex. So anything that needs to be released, this is the time to do that. What do I need to rework during Mercury retrograde that is not working well for me? The Knight of Wands. Okay. Even though this card is coming up over here with card number 1, what Mercury retrograde may bring into your awareness, I feel like there is a part of you that has that hardcore Aries energy. This charging first, asking questions later. I could even see this as a potential romantic relationship. Something that moves very quickly, is very heated, and perhaps even perhaps just moving a little too quickly. For whatever reason, it's not working well for you right now. This could be a call to slow down. This could be a call to communicate. This could be a call to burn a bridge. This could be a call to cut that off. It does not have to be a romantic relationship. But I feel like for some of you, it very well may be. And for others, it just might be that gung-ho spirit. That's not to say that this energy is bad. It's just maybe it's not the best during Mercury retrograde. Slow down. Think about your actions before you do it. Look before you leap. Card 5. What unknown factors do I need to be aware of? I see a conflict. That's a conflict you are not yet aware of. So when this conflict arises, I want to bring your attention back over here to the Strength card. That you can usually squash these fires, solve these disagreements with a calm, level head. This attitude is only going to fuel the flames. What is a precaution I can take for a smooth Mercury retrograde? The Star. Begin your healing process now. I did feel like this card was about forgiveness, about letting go. And I feel like this card is tying into that. Moss says, meditation can supply you with answers you need to hear. I don't know if meditation is in your practice or not, but if not, I think this would be a wonderful time to start meditating. This card says, bring love into the situation. I definitely felt that with these two cards here. New moon in Aquarius. Let me go to the book and see what this has to say. Aquarius is all about progress and modernity. So this is the time to move forwards. The new moon in Aquarius card means no looking back. Change is on its way, and it could come quickly. Whether you get the change you want depends both on whether you believe you can have it and how much you're relying on others to bring it to you. This card comes with the suggestion that you may need to do things independently, on your own, but be loving, not too pragmatic. I definitely feel those cards coming up right here with what it's suggesting in your moon card. Time may be of the essence when this card comes up. Aquarius energy has an electric feel to it. Certainly, there is a sense that you need to let go of the past and move towards your future as soon as possible. I felt that coming up here with this card. Attuned to the moon. Explore the idea that it's not what you know, but whom you know. Additional meanings for this card can include, you need to be more detached from this situation. Thinking outside the box will bring the solution. More pragmatism is called for. I don't think that's the case. Improve your karma by doing some charitable work. Maybe. The teaching of this card is Aquarius is the sign of invention, modern advances and technology, and humanity. Its energy is a little brittle. It's individual, scientific even, and relatively emotionally detached. Many people think Aquarius is a water sign because the Aquarius symbol is the water bearer, but it's actually an air sign and is far more about intellect than the emotional water signs. As is this card, no matter when you draw it, dropping convention works well with this energy. I'm really drawn to where it talks about the teaching, and it's talking about invention, modern advances, technology, humanity. I don't know if that's any of the reasons why you would feel stuck or kind of like things are spiraling out of your control or you weren't able to figure it out or create it. I don't know if that has to do with your work or if something that you're working with in your free time, but I feel like that might play into that card. I'm not too sure. We'll have to be the judge of that. But for the most part, I feel like this card is just talking about approaching a situation with love. Letting go of the past, forgiving and moving on. Releasing what no longer serves you, what you don't need to carry with you anymore. So, pile 4, this does conclude your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you soon. Bye for now, gems. Hello, pile 5. If you have selected the Sacred Rose Tarot or the Jasper Stone, this reading is for you. Okay, card number 1. What will Mercury retrograde bring into my awareness? Oops. King of Swords. Okay, I feel like this is going to bring your decisions to the front and center. I feel like this is going to be bringing also into your awareness the way that you talk to people. Perhaps children, perhaps people who you have in your care. So maybe that's like employees or people who are your subordinates at work, people who look up to you. People may come to you for advice. I don't know what you do as a profession, but I could see this as somebody who comes to you for expert advice, perhaps legal advice. I could even see that as a doctor or something of that nature, something very intellectual. How might Mercury retrograde affect me? The Devil. Okay. I feel like some of your lower energies, your temptations, your vices, your addictions, they may they may be having an extra pull on you during this time. Maybe it's because of stress, of tension, and you turn to that as a way of kind of letting loose, taking the edge off. But this card would be a warning to not overindulge, to make sure that your vices, your addictions are not keeping you slave to that behavior. What do I need to revisit during Mercury retrograde? The Hermit. I think this might be some time to spend alone. Maybe going out and partying is not the call right now. Maybe it's time for Netflix and chill, reading a book. I did get the feeling that you were somewhat of an intellectual person. So this might be picking up that book that you have sitting on your shelf, learning perhaps about the deeper mysteries. I definitely could see this as studying some occult topic that you find interest in. Card 4. What do I need to rework during Mercury retrograde? What is not working well for me? Ten of Swords. I see an ending that you do not want to let go of. You're clinging. You're afraid to let go. I feel like this card is saying it's the time to let it go. There's no point in beating a dead horse. Card 5. What unknown factors do I need to be aware of? Three of Cups. Normally, I would get the feeling that this has to do with your very closest circle of friends, perhaps hanging out with family, having a few drinks, really lightening up, taking the load off. This card is right underneath the Devil, and sometimes this card comes up quite literally pertaining to drinks. Overindulging. And I feel like because this card is not in the reverse, where I would feel that that is partying too much, overindulging, I feel like this, with these cards here, like they're saying to find a balance between taking the edge off and addiction, taking the edge off and going off the deep end. Maybe you're not aware of it, but I feel like this card is saying, pay attention. Pay attention to what friends are telling you in a joke. You know, sometimes a lot of jokes have a ring of truth to them. Family members, perhaps even children or your parents, something that they have brought to your attention. Really seek to find a balance in this area. Whatever it is, it does not have to be drinks. It does not have to be drugs, but it could be whatever it is that you use as your coping tool. For some of you, that may be shopping, that might be, whatever. It could be sex, it could be any number of things. What precautions can I take for a smooth Mercury retrograde? Two of Swords in the reverse. I feel like there may be a lot of emotion around decision making. I feel like this card is saying the precaution that you could take for a smooth Mercury retrograde would be to really sit and weigh those actions, weigh those decisions before making a final decision, a final judgment on that. With this card being in the reverse, both hands are pointing up in the above. Normally they would be pointing down, but they're pointing up. I feel like it's saying, like, make sure your decisions, make sure your actions, make sure you're speaking from a place of enlightenment, enlightened thought, enlightened speech. Is this decision for the good of all involved? Briar, Sophie, and Sprig say, the friends we meet along the way help us appreciate the journey. And I really felt that this card here had something to do with friends. Maybe friends were bringing something to your awareness. Maybe friends were trying to help you out, but they didn't want to hurt your feelings. They didn't want to be so direct. They didn't want to be very blunt. This card says, nothing will come of this situation. Void of course moon. I'm going to go to the book and see what that has to say. In a form of astrology known as orrery, where an astrological chart is cast according to when the question is asked and decoded, a void of course moon means nothing will come of this matter, or this situation will bear no fruit. This may or may not be good news, depending on what you are asking for. For example, if you were worried about something, whatever it was, this card can be taken as a sign that there is nothing to worry about. However, if you're asking about a new project of any kind, including a new relationship, it's a sign to adjust your expectations or change things so you get a different outcome. Remember, the cards can only predict what you are currently creating and what you can change. And you can change that with both your behavior and beliefs. So I feel like this is saying, this is pertaining to the Mercury retrograde. If you find yourself being overly worried about something or in a very stressful situation, nothing's going to come of it. Don't worry about it. If you find yourself wanting to embark on a new relationship, that may also pertain to that. Maybe this would not be the best time to start a new relationship, a major project, or things of that nature. It says, attuned to the moon. I trust in my highest good. And I really felt like that's what this card was all about, including the Devil card. Like, you know what, like, you don't have to be slave to this thing, whatever it is. You know, you can find that balance here with these two cards. Additional meanings for this card. The chances of something are diminishing. Something better may be around the corner. Believe that you will get what you need. Surrender to the divine. Take time out, meditate, and contemplate. The main definition of a void of course moon is when the moon won't make a major connection with any of the planets until she enters the next sign. The best thing you can do when you get this card is to chant the Sanskrit words Om Namo Narayani, which means I surrender to the divine. A void of course moon is time to just be. Now over here, when I felt like you should do some hermiting, that might be something that you want to chant when you're by yourself. Om Namo Narayani. I surrender to the divine. So, yeah. Pile 5, that concludes your reading. I hope it made sense. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you soon. Bye for now, gems.